this video, we're going to have a look at sums, differences, and products of percentages. Sums and differences of percentages. In order to be able to add and subtract percentages, two conditions must be satisfied. The percentages must be of the same whole, and you cannot have any overlap among the groups being considered. Example 1. Out of 800 students, 20% walk only to school and 30% cycle only to school. If this box represents all 800 students, the 20% that walk would be represented here, and the 30% that cycle could be represented here, showing that there's no overlap. We can say that the sum, 30 plus 20, 50% of students walk or ride to school. And the difference, 30 minus 20, 10% more students cycle to school rather than walk. In this situation, both percentages are of the same 800 students and there's no overlap between the groups. But we cannot always add percentages. For example, if this question was worded, out of 500 junior students, 20% walk only to school, and out of 300 senior students, 30% cycle only to school. This is not the same as saying 50% of all students, and we can see this doing some calculations. 20% of the junior students would be 100 students, and 30% of the senior students would be 90 students. This would give a total of 190 students, which is not the same as 50% of the total. In this case, we could not add or subtract to find the sum and difference. Multiplication. Suppose 50% of students travel to school using some form of public transport and 20% of them also walk, let's say at least 1 kilometre. We can represent this problem using an array. The whole rectangle represents the 800 students. And 50% of them use public transport. Let's say this area on the left is 50%. Now 20% of the 50% also walk. So I'm going to divide the 50% into 5 representing 20% sections. And we know that one lot of this 20% of the 50, let's say this group here, represents the students that walk and take public transport. As a sum, this would be represented as 20% of 50%. To calculate this, we convert each to a fraction with a denominator of 100. Simplifying each fraction, leaving the denominators as 10, so then we can quickly see it's 10 over 100, which is a total of 10%. We can also do these percentages of amount by switching them around. So the 20% of 50% is also the same as 50% of 20%, which is 10%. So sums, differences, and products of percentages.